Hello there, and welcome to the, well, I was going to say fan commentary, but that would be lying. The Pendragon Wars commentary for this, the Pendragon Pictures adaptation of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, starring Anthony Piana, and a whole bunch of people we don't really give a shit about, including a teacher, a former soldier, a former porn star, and the director's squeeze. You know, that reminds me of a line in the film of Producers, "There's always a part for the girlfriend." Okay, first things first, this isn't going to be a Mystery Science Theater 3000 or Riff Track style commentary exactly. I will be giving this film one hell of a kicking, you know, pointing out the flaws, things that don't work, and really moments of intense stupidity. But I will also try to be even-handed and fair as much as possible, pointing out things that I do like, some things that, you know, do actually kind of work, and give a practical insight into the movie. Because while I won't say this film is good, I do believe that Timothy Hines did make the best film he could with the resources that he had available. That said, there's a lot of problems with this film that he kind of blundered into that he didn't have to have done. But we'll talk about that later. But don't worry, there's going to be a lot of jokes and a lot of cultural references too, so keep your ears open. I also want to apologise for poor sound quality. I don't really have a lot of top-notch equipment or editing software, but, you know, just consider it an homage to Timothy Hines. You just saw the opening credits there, that's the best part of the film in my opinion. Okay, we open with stock footage, presumably because it's cheap and easy. Alright, all kidding aside, I actually do like the idea behind this opening. You know, it's a good mood setter, you know, it helps set the tone for what's coming. It's a pretty effective dramatic tool in my opinion. And Steven Spielberg used the exact same trick, although he had Morgan Freeman, and a higher budget, and better actors, and, well, he had a lot of stuff. The trouble is, the goodwill this movie is building up with the stock footage and the use of, you know, passages from the book, is thrown away right here with the CGI buildings. What? What's up with that? It's completely incongruous with the stock footage, it's unrealistic, and it's money being spent where it doesn't need to be. Save the money for the big action sequences. Why spend money there? That's ridiculous. And you did it again. Why? And now we're in colour, if you can call this colour. And is it me, or is it a shot of like the big crashes on Mars and it drifts away to reveal something behind it? Is that taken from the Doctor Who movie from '96, or is it just me? Okay, and now we meet the star of the show, and the face of the man on which it sits. Yes, it's the fake moustache. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it anymore really. At the end of the day, we know it's fake, you know, and it's a very bad fake, but it's there for a purpose. It's there to differentiate when Piana is playing the writer and when he's playing the brother. Enough comments been made, enough kicking's been done, so let's just leave that there, alright? Instead, let's focus on how bad the special effect is of that lantern. What? Again, more money being spent where it doesn't need to be. That's just ludicrous. Okay, first item on the agenda here for the discussion of this movie. The actors. The actors are coming for a lot of stick from a lot of people. And I want to try and speak in their defence a little bit, because I wouldn't really say they're bad actors. What you've got to bear in mind is that the vast majority of them had never done a feature film before, but a lot of them had extensive theatre credits. And theatre acting and film acting are completely different. I mean, you can actually see here, I mean, Jack Clay is doing a very theatrical style, you know, especially with like the booming voice and the wild gesticulations. I mean, really, I think it really is more Timothy Hines' fault as a director than the fault of the actors, because he really should have encouraged them to restrain those tendencies to broadcast wildly to those in the cheap seats. That said, I mean, cheap seats, that's just kind of fitting, being as how this film turned out, really. And you know, speaking of the actors and Jack Clay's voice, is it me, or did he learn his attempt at an English accent by studying the films of Brian Blessed? Not there's anything wrong with that, of course. I mean, look at Anthony Piana. I mean, his British accent appears to be based on Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. So really, I want to apologise for the silences here. There's a couple of reasons for this. I have scripted this to a point, but I'm also trying to ad-lib as much as possible. Sometimes a rant's going to overrun, and something will happen on screen, and I'll miss the chance to speak about it. Or sometimes a rant will come under time, and I'll just be forced with lots of silence. So apologies in advance for that. I would have liked to have got other people in to help me with this, but I'm recording this on an as and when basis, so that's kind of impractical. Okay, something else we can talk about here. The special effects there are terrible. You can't tell anything happened. You can't tell what he's reacting to. If you blinked at that point, you would have missed that, and you'd be like, what's going on? Dr. Ogilvy! Yes, sir. I learned his words phonetically. What is that accent? It's terrible. I live in England. I've never heard anyone talk like that. You know, I live in Blackpool. I see a lot of tourists. So, I hear a lot of accents. I've never heard one like that. It's terrible. For a little bit I thought Piano was reaching for a hip flask. Got to drink! Why did Mars just turn blue? Ugh, more about special effects. Crikey. God, we're not even 10 minutes into the movie. I mean, what? 6 minutes 45 seconds, and already this film is making my brain hurt. This is not a good sign, considering this film is 3 hours long. Can this scene end already? Editing's a big problem in this movie, but you know, I'm getting ahead of myself there. We'll talk about this later. Come on, can this scene end already? It's dragging on. Oh, and more CGI. Ugh, brilliant. And here we meet the charming, the delightful, the radiant Susan Goforth, playing the character of the wife. I'll say no more. And yet another FX blunder. I cannot recall the last time I went outside in daylight, looked up, and could see the night sky. That is ridiculous! And speaking of ridiculous, here comes another moment that just makes me feel like my IQ is dropping sharply. Listen to Anthony Piano's attempt at a British accent. Hey, Roddy! Orange cast! I say! Steady on, old chap! What was that? That was like the most stereotypical attempt at an accent ever. I mean, up to this point, he hasn't even tried to do one, so the fact he tried there only seems to highlight how stupid it is. I mean, maybe this is why he doesn't try it again. Maybe Timothy Hines did direct him there and go, Tony, don't try an accent, you're like a complete twat! Why is Goforth shielding her eyes? Supposedly it's daylight. And why is Piano blinking about 120 times a second? Who do you think he is? Fucking Hugh Grant? That's a poor model to base your acting on.